Good evening to all of you, and welcome to this week's weekly market presentation by C Securities. So, I will start with the stock market news for this week. And this week also a kind of a bearish sentiment went throughout the week. And as you can see in the screen, market further declined throughout the week. But by the week end, there was a slight increase in both the indices. So, looking at each of the days separately, on Monday, SPI further declined by 112 points from its previous close at 10,565.26, and S&P SL 20 index also declined by 38 points to close at 3,616.78. So both the indices were dragged down by the price declines in index heavyweights, including Expo, Build, and LOLC. Despite the price decline in the said index heavyweights, dipped result a gain of 5.5%. And when it comes to turnover levels, that was relatively low and said to be the lowest in 7 months, only amounted to be 1.3 billion. And when it comes to foreign and purchasers and sales, on a positive note, foreigners continue to buy, resulting in net buying of 56 million, whereas only 25 million worth of sales were reported. And the same sentiment continued for the second day on Tuesday as well. ASPI index declined by 280 points to close at 10,284, whereas S&P SL 20 index also declined by 101 points to close at 3,514.83. Index heavyweights continue to drag down the indices, and market turnover was slightly appreciated from the previous day's one, recorded to be an amount of 1.6 billion, whereas foreign purchases again topped for the second consecutive session, reported a net value of 136 million, whereas only 40 million worth of foreign sales were reported. Then both the indices act on a mixed note during the Wednesday's trading session, whereas ASPI index declined by 61 points to close at 10,222.55. But on contrary, S&P index appreciated by 9.23 points to close at 3,524.06. And turnover levels was picked up to 2.9 million, and that was majorly boosted by LB Finance acquisition of 64.52% of stake from the loss-making multi-finance PLC at a value of 400 million rupees. And the said stake was previously owned to Fairway Holdings, and this was the transaction took place partially as of the requirement mandated by central bank at its facilitation and the requirements recommendation made on non-bank financial sector consolidation. So because of that reason, turnover level picked up to 2.9 million. Other than that, Expo and Bill were the top contributors for the said increase in turnover levels. So foreign purchases were reported a net amount of 38 million, whereas only 2 million worth of sales reported. And we had a holiday on Thursday, so the day followed. Today, market appreciated, and the SPI gained points of 131 to close at 10,353.83, whereas S&P SL 20 index also increased by 61 points to close at 3,583.47. Then the turnover levels was relatively low compared to the previous days. That was only amounted to be 1.4 million. And again, foreign purchasers picked up, reporting a net value of 88 million, whereas only 22 million worth of sales reported. So for the week, SPI overall declined by 2%, and S&P index also declined by 0.87%, whereas on a positive note, what we can really happy about, net foreign inflows for the week reported a value of 228 million. So majority of the parties are expecting that the market to appreciate or market is to showcase a recovery in the coming weeks, but also should be considered that the triggering economic crisis and political instability may continue to have a negative impact on the stock market proceedings. So, moving to this week's economic update, India's loan of $1 billion was granted on behalf of Sri Lanka, and it was made after finance minister's recent visit to India and the discussion held with Indian officials. So the borrowed amount was expected to utilize for the importations of essentials, including fuel. And India Prime Minister, at the discussion with Finance Minister of Sri Lanka, assured that India will present as a close friend to support Sri Lanka to revive from the ongoing economic crisis. And also, it said the media reported that discussions were went regarding the agriculture, renewable energy, digitalization, and tourism and fisheries during their official meet that was took place in India. And also, the International Monetary Fund wishes to begin its discussions with Sri Lanka to support the revival of economy and to support with giving financial assistance for the sake of Sri Lankan economy. And that was even hinted by the top officials discussions held throughout the week. And several IMF delegates made their visit to Sri Lanka this week, and they also had discussions with Sri Lanka president. And this will be followed by the finance minister's the upcoming visit to IMF in Washington to discuss about this the best way to support Sri Lanka economy for the sake of it, for the revival of it. And on the other hand, Finance Minister has recently decided to impose a special commodity levy on 9 imports, including fruits and some from milk-related products. And with that, a special commodity levy of 1,000 rupees per kilogram will be imposed on yogurt, butter, and breads manufactured using milk. And meanwhile, the sum of the tourism sector related parties, tourist services providers, claim that the restrictions import on these imports have a negative impact on the hotel sector, where some of the key commodities that are a vital requirement for the sake of those companies are being banned and restricted upon the gazetted restrictions. So that can have a negative impact on the tourism and the service provided by them. So before looking at the treasury yields for this week, LKR continue to depreciate against the four currencies, especially USD and GBP, and the value seems to be a significant amount. This is because of the recent implementation of free float, and as a result of that, Rupee continued to depreciate, and it's reported that Rupee to USD was indicated at 280, close to 300 level by today. So it will continue to depreciate because of the limited forex reserves that we had and all the pressures from the global markets. And when it comes to central bank's treasury yield auction this week, yields continue to go up, and yield curve actually inverted because 3-month treasury bills are offering higher yield compared to 6-month and 12 months. So 3 months treasury yield rose up by over 100 basis points to reach 11.35 from the previous 10.29%, whereas 6-month also went up by 57 points to 11.05% from 10.48%. And the 12-month treasuries also gained 49 points to reach 11.15% over 10.66% from the previous week. So yields are continuing to go up, and it hints that there can be a possible rate hike to be implemented soon than anticipated. So looking at the commodity market, oil prices declined on a weekly basis, but when it comes to the end of the week, especially on Friday, oil prices went up, and that is basically due to the reason that the tighter sanctions and the supply disruptions costing oil seems to be slightly calm as of the peace talk between Russia and Ukraine regarding the ongoing war. And gold prices lowered since the investors tend to shift from the safe haven gold as the increasing interest rates raise the opportunity cost of holding gold. Then copper prices also advanced due to some supply side concerns from Peru being the second biggest manufacturer of metal after Chile. And that is due to some internal factors, internal protests that are ongoing regards to one of its major suppliers, Southern Copper. And with that, copper prices advanced, and aluminium prices, however, declined with the ongoing conflicts between Russia and Ukraine. So, looking at the international financial market, global markets slightly up on today as the interest rate high by Federal Reserve created a positive impact on investors to gain market prices high during Friday's trading session. But anyhow, European shares struggled to remain at their positive momentum and slightly slipped on Friday's trading session. But anyhow, US stocks gained over 1%. Three major indices gained over 1% during Thursday's trading session. And the majority of the Asian market share markets also reported gain on Friday, whereas Nikkei gained 174 points to close at 26,827, and STI index also advanced by 1.12%. So that's all from my end. Harin, over to you.
Thank you, Sachini, for the update. So let's look at oil, what has happened over the past few days due to crisis that's happening between Ukraine and Russia. So we were able to see oil reaching a high of 129.42 US dollars per barrel. And after reaching that high, the oil price actually started to decline and came below the psychological area of $100 per barrel, and tested the daily support level 92.94, which I have drawn before. So after testing that daily support level 92.94, the price actually came above the psychological area again, and it seems to be trading above the psychological area, where my daily support also comes at the level of 103. So at the moment, oil price seems to be trading in between a daily support level and a resistance level, which is 101 and 112, and also taking psychological area, it goes as 100 to 112. So long as it sustains above the key level of 100, we might be able to see it reaching the daily resistance 110, 112. So this all depends on the current war and all that's happening around. So and also taking the demand and supply for the oil. So if it comes below daily support level 100, 103, also the psychological area, this could actually bring back the oil price to the daily support level 92, 94. Also, we were able to see on 15 March, it made a low of 93.56. RSI is in the mid range at the moment, but RSI seems to be trading somewhat below the moving average that we have in the RSI. So it previously it was trading above the moving average and the RSI. So now it's quite below the moving average. So looking at the all share index, so basically looking at it, we were able to see previously how the index got rejected from the level of 10,143.73. So it made a low of 10,143.73 on March 9th, and then bounced back to the daily resistance level 10,915, 11,000 being the psychological area. It started to drop again, and again made a low of 10,054.21 on 16th of March. So today, as Friday, we were able to see some sort of bullish momentum, and where the index opened at 10,222.82, and made a high of 10,413.83 and managed to close at 10,353.83. So if it manages to break that resistance level of 10,500, being another psychological area, we might be able to see it heading towards 11,000 area side again, 11,000 resistance again. So if it fails to sustain above the 10,500 area, we might be able to see some sort of a ranging happening over the level of 10,000 and 10,500. So 10,000 being a strong psychological area. Whenever the index comes to that key area, or even getting near to that key area, some sort of a rejection happens and the market seems to be getting bounced back again. So the RSI is 36.07, still in the mid range. Previously, we were able to see on 9th March, it came below the level of 30 and recorded 27.1 as the RSI. So looking at our topic of the week, which is Brown's Investments PLC, which is Bill. So previously, Bill making a support level, a strong support level as daily support 10, 10, 30. We were able to see whenever the price came to that daily support level, it seems to be getting rejected over and over again. So once we had a forced breakout where it made a low of 950, which is 9th March, and bounced back again to the 1170 12, and again came down to the level of 10 10 30, also made a low of 980 on 16 March. So after that, over the past few days, which is 18th and 16th, we were able to see some sort of bullish candles appear. The both days were quite bullish for Bill. So the daily resistance of level 7012 could be once again be tested again. So that strong resistance could be tested, and also we can see the price is actually above the moving average, 8 moving average, which is the slow moving average, fast moving average, sorry. So once it starts to trade above both the moving averages, including the 18 moving average and also the daily resistance 12, we might be able to see it heading towards the daily resistance of 14, 1370 14 once again. So RSI is 42, which is in the mid range. So as we can see, basically it's quite ranging over the level of 10 and 12. So therefore it needs to strongly break the key level of 12, then we'll be able to expect it going further up. So thank you, and I hope you all have had a wonderful session over here. So please do like and subscribe our video. Have a great weekend. Thank you.